Okay, ready to go. Hello and welcome to our, I guess it's not a live stream, so we shouldn't lie, but you are watching a video tour. My name is Jose Otero with OneUp.com, and I am with Jeff O'Connell, and we are going to play Sleeping Dogs. Jeff, really quick, remind me your title on the project?
I'm senior producer on Sleeping Dogs, and I've been with UFG since day one, 2007, October. It's been almost 5 years.
Yes, UFG being United Front Games, the developer of Sleeping Dogs, and on the controls today, the entity known as Johnny will be helping us out. So we decided to take a little bit of a different approach since Jeff was nice enough to come in, and that is to just kind of be taken on a guided tour kind of through Sleeping Dogs and maybe, you know, share a couple anecdotes, talk a little bit about development. So where are we right now, actually?
Yeah, we're in Club Bam Bam, which is a big nightclub in the first district that you play in Sleeping Dogs, which is called North Point. And North Point is a bit like Kowloon, a bit grimier, a bit dirtier. This club is owned by this guy named Benny. And Way's here to take the club back and bring it back under the ownership of Winston, his boss. Benny used to work for Winston. He's gone to work for a rival triad boss, and Way's here to make Benny see some reason. So Johnny, the entity known as Johnny, who's driving today, just spoke with Tiffany, one of the karaoke hostesses here at the club. Tiffany's actually played by Yunjin Kim of Lost fame.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was amazing to work with. We recorded her, I think, both in Los Angeles and in Korea, where she's from. So it was kind of cool.
That is awesome to know, because one of the things on the site that people don't know, but a lot of us staff on OneUp love Lost, and we love to put a Lost reference whenever we can. So this is our official Lost reference.
There you go, man.
For this video. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So this is a little mini game we have in here. You can go into the club at any point after this and actually sing some karaoke. There's about 10 or 12 tracks they unlock through the course of the game. They're progressively harder. This one's pretty easy.
Okay.
And perhaps a little cheeky nod to Wei being a cop. I fought the law and the law won by the Clash.
What others, are there any other songs you can sing as well?
Oh, there's quite a few. We've got Aha. I think we've got some Robert Palmer in there. Flock of Seagulls.
Simply Irresistible.
Cyndi Lauper.
What?
Yeah, we've got a lot of radio stations in the game. You can play those in the cars or on the motorbikes, on the boats. But we decided to go a little more 80s old school with the karaoke tracks. So
very nice. Yeah, good selections. Was that sort of the way basically you decided just anything popular in the 80s sort of had that like 80s tinge, that neon to it almost?
Exactly. We wanted to just have a sense of humor with the game. We're going to be doing a lot of bad stuff in this game, and if it was just all killing and hurting and maiming and chasing and everything else, I think that could potentially get pretty dark. So with Hong Kong cinema, there's often, and kind of even in the most violent fights, there's like a playfulness using the environment, or just how somebody like Jackie Chan moves and how he reacts. So we didn't want to lose that at any point in the game, that kind of sense of humor.
So then the actor who played Wei Sheng had to sing these lines, correct?
Well, I don't want to take anything away from Will Yun Lee, who played Wei, but I think we may have brought somebody else in to sing these songs.
Okay.
So
okay.
Will, he is an amazing guy, one of the nicest people we've ever met and worked with, and actually just to give some props to Will, just got a major role in the new Hugh Jackman Wolverine film.
Really?
Yeah, so we're really excited for him.
Okay. Who is this unnamed singer then? Can he be named?
Does
it escape you right now?
It escapes me right now,
okay.
But he did a pretty decent job with it. So yeah, Wei's gone up to the VIP area in the club. You can see on the left there's a collectible item. Those are melee statues. You find these all around the game. There's about 12 of them. They're part of the Chinese zodiac. I think this one is the dragon.
Okay.
So if you bring these back to the dojo or the gym, a martial arts gym in the game, you unlock new martial arts moves.
Okay.
Who the fuck are you? I'm looking for Benny.
So we're okay to skip these. If
oh, no problem. We show this if you want to get it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, sure.
So this is Wei meets Benny for the first time and basically says, "Listen, I'm here to, the club belongs to my boss now." When Benny says, "Listen, I think this is maybe a bad idea,"
Yeah,
and Benny's guys try to take Wei out here.
Get the fuck out of here.
So Johnny is about to show us again, one of the core elements of our really deep mechanic system, which is the fighting. We wanted Sleeping Dogs to have the best mechanics in any urban open world game. And given that it takes place in Hong Kong, we based it all around the fighting. The melee, you don't just have punches and kicks at your disposal, you've got the environment. Anytime you grab somebody, anything that flashes red, that is an interactable object.
yeah.
And sometimes you get things that spawn out of these things, like I think fish often will come out of an aquarium. You can use those fish in combat. You break a table, table legs, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you can also use any wall in the game you can run somebody into, any railing you can throw somebody over. We really wanted to have a little head slam action there.
Yeah.
Really wanted you to have that ability, like you see in a Hong Kong action movie. If you see it, you can use it.
Yeah.
We wanted you to be able to choreograph your own fight.
I'm very addicted to running up to rails in my playthrough at home right now with Sleeping Dogs, just kind of taking advantage of the environment.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to just
yeah.
kind of see something and say, yeah, that looks like it could hurt.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay, so it looks like they're down. Are there more thugs downstairs?
I think he's
or-
I think
yeah.
he's coming back up. I think he may have got turfed off the balcony and somehow maybe he
Lit.
landed on a patron or something.
Ah,
So he landed
okay,
on
okay.
something soft, somehow managed to live. So
Very
Benny,
nice.
get the
Okay.
fuck out here. Benny, I know you're in there.
now what we're seeing here is this is one of the first times in the game. This is early on in the game where you actually get a different enemy class. These guys are brawlers. They're tougher than a regular enemy. They also have a different fighting style. They have heavy attacks, which are uninterruptible. There are quick strikers, there are brawlers like these guys, and there are grapplers. We also have mini bosses. You need a particular strategy to defeat those mini bosses. They're not overly difficult. We didn't want to go too hardcore with it, but it just mixes things up a little bit, so you're not always fighting the same guys.
So what's the best way to tackle a brawler for the kids at home? What,
You have to be careful. Waiting until they counter is good. You can see here that Johnny is also using a heavy attack on these guys. So weapon attacks are also really good with brawlers. But yeah, if you just sort of wait around, they will block your attacks, any incoming attacks. You see they've got their guard up.
Yeah.
And their heavy attacks are uninterruptible again.
Yeah, I noticed earlier, and that's something you, that the icon underneath the brawlers kind of gives that away to just kind of remind you, hey, these guys are a tougher deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So their body language will give it away. The icon system also helps. Now you see you've got a mix of guys down here. You've got the brawlers. You've got guys armed with weapons.
Yeah.
Weapons are really tough. You have to counter those. If you try to take a weapon away from a guy without countering him, he will just you won't be able to get it away from him.
Yeah, he kind of slips out. Yeah, I tried with the first knife wielder in the campaign, the guy that you fight on a rooftop.
Ming, yes,
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, and but weapons are extremely useful as well, as you know they should be.
Yeah, they're sort of use and abuse. So we wanted everything to feel like a power-up, whether it's was a melee weapon or even in some missions the guns are like a power-up. Which again harkens back to Hong Kong cinema. The heroes tend to be really creative, and when they run out of ammo or when the weapon breaks, they find something new, and that's how we wanted the game to play.
That's right. Yeah.
So you can see the club is cleared out here, and Wei is sort of making his way through Benny's henchmen.
Yeah. Where's Benny now?
Benny has gone down. He's hiding in the men's room. So, yeah, we're gonna head over there as soon as we're through these guys.
Ooh.
So
Okay. You also have a stun state going on with this combat system as well, right?
That's right, and actually, I don't think Johnny is playing a build that has the stun finishers unlocked yet, but there's some really great looking stun finishers where once a character is in that stun state, you perform an automatic kill on them once you attack them. So Johnny's using throws there. There are tackles in the game. You can roll over an opponent. to get around their backside. All kinds of different stuff in there.
Yeah, there was a really cool reversal, or at least it looked like one that he did earlier, where he kind of ducked, went around, came around, kind of grabbed them. It happened earlier, and I wanted to say something when it did, because it was like, wow, that looks so cool.
You know, we really worked with an incredible group of martial artists to do a lot of the mocap for the fighting. You see Benny peeking over the stall there, trying to check things out. The toilet combat prop. And not only do we have great guys for mocap, but we have an incredible animation crew, a lot of whom are actually martial artists themselves. One guy's a black belt in karate, one guy is a Muay Thai fighter. So, you know, they didn't just take this raw mocap and put it in the game. They tweaked it, they tuned it, they used their expertise to make it look even better. And just a ton of variety. So there's a couple mini-bosses here. You notice that there was sort of a bouncer boss out there on the dance floor. This guy's a bit of a mini-boss as well. Just a bit more health. And in each one of these interiors, these custom interiors, you'll often come up against a little mini-boss.
Okay.
So this is Wei talking some sense into Benny.
Relax, Benny. I'm not gonna kill you. Okay. Just listen.
You also have sort of a damage state going on for Wei as well.
Yeah.
Can you talk maybe a little bit more about that? Like what led to sort of going with that decision?
Well, we wanted the game to have a really gritty and visceral feel. We wanted Wei to feel like a modern-day action hero. You know, if you watch a Donnie Yen film at the end of a fight, he's covered in sweat, his clothes are ripped, he's bloody, his nose might be broken, and you saw that even in, let's say, Casino Royale with Daniel Craig.
That's right.
You know, so we didn't want Wei to be a superhero. We wanted him to be a real person. Yeah. So the damage that you take in a fight will carry over into the cutscenes. You can wash that damage off. If you go to a sink in your safe house or something that sinks in the game, that damage will then wash off of Wei.
So it's not something just like having a drink, for example, like Dragon Kick or something like that that you buy. That won't make it go away?
That will actually bring your health back up.
Okay, that's all. Like it won't refresh the way you look.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but that's a great point. That food items will bring your health back up.
Yeah.
We're seeing Wei talking to his undercover handler Raymond. So there's after some of the big missions in the game, Wei ends up meeting with Raymond. He meets with him in various locales in Hong Kong. Raymond is really modeled after the Mark Wahlberg character in The Departed, a guy who is there to do his job, but he and Wei just do not get along. And the relationship between these two characters throughout the game is really interesting. It actually changes as the game goes on. I won't get into that too much, but it's interesting to see the dynamic between somebody who really Wei is supposed to trust and be closest to. They just do not get along.
Is he also as a sort of the Mark Wahlberg character in The Departed had a very hard edge to him, where like you really couldn't ask him the wrong question or have the wrong answer, actually. Like, is there some of that in this character?
Yeah, absolutely. Raymond really doesn't give an inch with Wei, and it's interesting to see how Wei's relationships with the police evolve as the game goes on. You know, he has personal ties to these triads going in. A lot of the people who he knew in Hong Kong as a kid, he uses to get in with the triad when he comes back to Hong Kong. Exactly. So it's kind of like going back to the old neighborhood. So he finds it hard to actually just fully betray these people. And at the end of the game, you know, he has to make some choices about how he's going to deal with things. He's got long running relationships with these folks.
Yeah. So we just passed a pair of housewives who share daily gossip. Somewhat, right? Talk a little bit about that.
So we call these things sprinkles, not maybe the most masculine of names for sort of an urban open world game. But all around the world, if Wei leaves a safe house, if he comes out of a police station, a hospital, if he goes into some shops, there are these very cleverly written pieces of dialogue that are triggered as you see a certain group of people talking. Sometimes they're talking about those women, as you just saw. I think it was a mother and daughter talking. Sometimes Wei comes out and the women are in the hallway talking about how their husbands are bad in bed, and some Chinese herbal medicine might help straighten things out.
Yeah, that's the first one I heard. Yeah.
You know, and oftentimes, you know, he'll actually hear reference to things he's done. There's a point in the game where he goes into a hospital undercover as a doctor, and the doctor and nurse are saying, you know, there's been a recent spate of driver running people over on the sidewalks in Hong Kong, and so of course referring to the open world mayhem that you're causing. So there's just little things there that as you kind of keep your ears open, little cheeky nods to stuff that's happening in the game.
Yeah.
Again, just wanting to keep sort of a sense of humor about things. And so you saw Johnny use a health shrine there. If you collect all the health shrines in the game, again a collectible, you will double the health that you start the game with, which is the game gets harder and you encounter more and difficult NPCs with better weapons and guns. You're going to need that health.
Okay.
Johnny's also using parking garage here. Doesn't have too many cars in it yet. But you can store all of the vehicles in the game if you collect them and buy them in the garage, and you can customize the paint on them. We've got a great couple of guys who worked on Need for Speed. They've got some good-looking paint schemes, some great-looking decaling for some of our vehicles.
Yeah. So where to now on this tour? Through Sleeping Dogs' take on Hong Kong.
Let me confer with the entity known as Johnny here. Yeah. So we're going to. Do you want to return the statue? Is that what you're thinking? Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is earlier on in the Bam Bam Club we saw that statue, and now what we're doing now is we're actually going to take that statue to the martial arts school, which is just down the street from Way's North Point Safe House, and. You see Johnny's changing the radio station there. I think this might be a Cantopop track. I'm not really sure. There's Cantopop, there's Chinese classical music, there's also rap and hip hop, there's dubstep, there's really kind of everything under the sun there.
So it's language commercials also in Cantonese. Right?
Cantonese commercials, English accented or British accented commercials.
Okay.
We really fortunate in Square actually really helped us get access to some great DJs and helped us as a great writer to write some ads for us. So it just adds to the immersion, that feeling of being in someplace new. The stuff that's being advertised, you might not hear in San Francisco or Los Angeles. It's pretty specific to Hong Kong.
Yeah. Sort of the style of the way they present it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was a little well, I joked with one of the other producers on the game, like, why not talk radio? I mean, okay, it would have been in Cantonese, but
you know, we talked about that.
Yeah.
We I think there's a piece that we listened to. It's Jackie Chan and Jet Li actually doing kind of like a talk radio piece, and that really made us think, you know what, we have to find some way to do like a piece with two guys like that, and we weren't able to, but maybe down the road, if we were lucky enough to work on a sequel, we'd love to get two iconic stars like that, Hong Kong film stars, to do a talk radio, 10 or 15 minutes of just talk radio.
That would be very cool.
That would be cool. Yeah. So we're looking at the martial arts upgrade screen here. We'll just keep it here for a sec. Oh, it's okay.
Oops.
No problem. But what you saw there was Johnny spent that point on one of the melee moves in the game. There's a real upgrade tree there. You can choose how you want to use it. There's more than enough time in the game to get all of the moves upgraded. But you also saw on that screen up at the top there was cop upgrades and triad upgrades. We're going to go back there and take a look at that right now. So you see the cop upgrades are focused around driving and shooting. There's also other things in there like a Slim Jim that actually helps you break into cars and actually draw less heat. The triad upgrades, a lot of that stuff is about increased damage, being able to do new attacks, and this essentially as a mission reward for being a badass in a mission. The cop points you get for not damaging property, not hurting cops, or not hurting innocents at the end of a mission.
Okay.
So the only other upgrade items we have on this screen, we've got the face advantages. Face essentially means respect. It's a real word they use in Hong Kong. If you have high face, you're well respected. You have a lot of money, probably. So as Wei goes through the game, he gains money and he gains face or respect for doing favors for people around town. He's going to gain things like a car valet, have somebody bring you your car whenever you need it. He's going to get discounts on items, cars and clothes. And then the health upgrades, that represents the shrines I talked about earlier. As you collect these things, you're going to be able to double your overall health.
Okay, that's useful, yeah.
It's just something you normally don't see, sort of an RPG light system. You normally don't see it in urban open world games. So we thought it really worked well given the melee and the emphasis on the action mechanics.
Yeah. And the RPG system carries over to the clothing and what you wear and what you consume as well, because there's sort of buffs and whatnot associated.
That's a great point, actually. Yeah, I mean, we've got clothing items in the game. I think go between 300 and 400 different clothing items, and you can mix and match these to actually get sets. You could get a thug set, I think, that increases your damage, and all different sorts of sets and modifiers for those sets, and you can save those and make them presets in your safe houses. Go back to your safe house, change your outfit, and get a different bonus.
So, what's your favorite outfit? Do you have one? You must have one.
I do have one.
Okay.
The truth is that my favorite.
You don't have to show it. You can
No,
just
it's
tell
okay.
us. Yeah,
My favorite outfit is the Bruce Lee inspired yellow and black
Way of the
jumpsuit.
Dragon. Wait, is that Way of the Dragon?
Enter the Dragon.
Or, no, that's Game of Death.
That's the
yellow
Game of
jumpsuit,
Death jumpsuit when he
Yes,
fights
yes,
Kareem
that's
Abdul-Jabbar. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's right. Okay.
So yeah, that's my favorite one. I know it's kind of corny, but
that's a good one.
I just, you know, growing up, Bruce Lee is just one of those guys who I thought was the coolest.
Oh,
and
definitely.
So yeah, that's anybody who likes those films. We've got Gordon Liu, Jackie Chan, you know, Jet Li, some pretty Chow Yun-fat. We've got little nods to things those guys have done. So you can you know, incorporate that into your play if you want.
Okay. So then, what would be the wackiest outfit?
Oh God. Well, you can mix and match to some pretty crazy outfits. Where you can run around in a Panama hat with underwear and work boots on if you want.
Okay.
You know, which honestly, I would go over to some of our designers' desks during development, and I'd be like, "Why are you wearing that? You know, he does not look cool, guys." And they were just like, "Hey, man, you know, don't hate. That's how I want to play."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just individual expression. But
Yeah, and that look carries over to cutscenes. Sorry.
yes, it does. It carries over into cutscenes. So if you want to dress way, like I said, in underwear and a Panama hat, and you want to go through the cutscenes with those and like a pair of blue blockers on, that's how he's going to go into all of his cutscenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where are we now? This is
we're still at North Point. We're going into a clothing store. There's clothing stores all around the island. Depending on what neighborhood you're in, the clothing stores will sell either sort of low-end goods like streetwear, like we're looking at here, or more high-end stuff. Central Hong Kong, where I think we're going to head shortly, has some really high-end stores, suits, and just more nicer clothing. Oh, great.
Okay.
Thanks, Johnny. It was great. Now Wade's got the Panama hat on.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We brought it up.
We've started something here, people. Yeah.
Looks good. Good choice.
Yeah. We actually.
I have one of those at my desk actually. I do writing with it on. And,
oh,
some
no
people
kidding.
Yeah, I'm going to out myself here. Yeah, I wear the Panama hat from time to time. Yeah.
All right. See,
Yeah.
something for everybody.
Yep. Definitely. I will be rocking this when I play later today.
Yeah, we didn't decide to incorporate this into any of the marketing, you know, the Panama hat, but
Yeah.
maybe we should have.
Yeah, maybe.
You notice that Johnny just called Amanda,
Yes.
one of our 4 dateable girls.
Okay.
You meet these girls in missions. You met Yunjin Kim's character Tiffany earlier. After that mission, she was unlocked as a dateable girl. You met Amanda, played by Emma Stone, earlier in the game. And so Johnny has just called her. The pink arrows there are guiding Johnny to Amanda.
Okay.
And this is your chance to date Emma Stone, which is,
Wow.
yeah.
That's yeah. For some folks, that's awesome.
Just Johnny, just if you don't mind, just turn around there. I just want to show the street race there on the side of the road.
Okay.
So one of the many pieces of content we have in the game are these street races. These guys are hanging around all around town. There's 20 races in total. There's cars, there's bikes, there's boats. Thanks, Johnny. You can carry on. But these things are unlocked as you go through the game, and as you upgrade your car, the guys you're racing against also upgrade their hardware. So if you end up early on in the game getting enough cash to buy an exotic, we've made it so that changes and you don't just end up toasting everybody.
They upgrade as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're seeing various things as we go through the world there. We just passed sort of 3 guys who were guarding a lockbox, a collectible in the world. they were indicated by the red blips there on the mini map.
Hmm.
We've really tried to make it so that you don't have to go more than 20, 30 seconds, a minute at most, without coming across some kind of content that's there for you. So we've got a good sized world, but also really tried to populate it with lots and lots of sandbox content.
Well, how many miles we talking here?
Oh,
Would you know?
I don't know offhand how many
Yeah.
square miles it would be.
Big, yeah.
Yeah, it feels big, especially because we've got the custom interiors where a lot of the main missions take place, which are kind of like a movie set in a way. We sort of set up for more linear gameplay. And there's lots of alleys and back sort of lots and nooks and crannies in Hong Kong where if you explore, you're going to find things happen. It could be a fight club, it could be a cockfight, all these sorts of things that you can engage in. So Johnny's kind of heading through central Hong Kong here. I think it's early in the morning right now, so the streets aren't too crowded. That changes with the time of day.
Okay.
He's stopping on here, and it looks like he's buying a noodle bowl here. So if Johnny's health was depleted, this would take his health back up to top. You see also it has given him a health regen.
Yeah, on the right side of the
on
screen.
the right side.
Yeah.
So if you're going into a mission, like you talked about clothing before, and the buffs that gives you, if you're heading into a really tough mission, you're going to be, let's say, in a gunfight against a bunch of guys, you're pretty wise to, okay, I'm going to change my clothes, I'm going to get something that gives me a damage modifier or damage resistance, maybe I'm going to get a health regen, some food, and go into that kind of ready for battle. Again, just sort of a more RPG-like element. So we're heading up now to Victoria Peak, which is, for those familiar with Hong Kong, it's Hong Kong is an island, and in the center of it is this really massive mountain, and it makes for an amazing backdrop if you're looking at downtown Hong Kong. But in the game, Johnny's having a little trouble here.
Yeah. It's a little tight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tight strip.
In all fairness, Johnny's driving one of the earlier vehicles in the game, and as you go through the game and you upgrade your vehicles, they get more and more fun to handle. He's going to do an action hijack here.
Hey.
Very cool.
Nice.
He's any vehicle you see, car to car, bike to car, you can make it yours through the action hijack system.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Victoria Peak, you're heading up towards the top of that mountain right now, and it's a great area because have a lot of chases and races that happen up here. A lot of our UFG crew came from Need for Speed, and they just made the best use of these winding roads.
There she is.
There she is, Amanda. Emma Stone. So, if I was Emma Stone right now, I would be like, unless you take off that Panama hat, we are not doing this.
I had a feeling you'd say that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say for that one. But so where can you take her? Like, so we're going on a date.
So we're going on a date. So Amanda is an American student who's finished her degree, and she's kind of finding herself. Come over to Hong Kong to spend a little time and really kind of figure out who she is. So from a story point of view, it's a chance for Wei, who was born in Hong Kong but then went to San Francisco, to kind of talk to somebody who he kind of identifies with, as a part American, and so it's an interesting glimpse into sort of an aspect of Wei that you don't see when he's with the triads.
That's right.
So you got it. Will Yun Lee, who plays Wei, did a great job both being a tough guy when he's with the triads and actually being sympathetic when he's talking to his police handler or when he's with the girls. He's relatable.
Yeah.
So what you're doing with Amanda here is she wants to post some photos on her blog. So as part of this date, you are kind of talking your way into Victoria Peak, which is closed right now.
Okay.
And you're going to photograph Amanda. So you see Wei take out his phone here and use that for photography.
That's right.
We use that in various other parts of the game as well. Oftentimes in our police investigations, we use the camera for hacking, for safe cracking. We do some evidence collection with it, photography. So it's the game is more than just a bunch of action and some flavor moments here and there. We've got quite a bit of police stuff in there as well. Kind of a unique thing in games. There's so many films and stuff where the character's a cop, and TV shows like I've mentioned earlier, but not many games. So
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure that element was in there. Kind of a view of downtown Hong Kong or central Hong Kong here. All of this stuff that you're seeing is actually modeled. That just gives you an idea of part of central Hong Kong here
Yeah.
that you're looking at.
So you mentioned having sort of common ground with Amanda. What sort of relationships? The other relationships. What are they sort of like
It's
for Wei?
for Wei, he when he's with the triads, he is acting. Mike Scooper, our design director at Front Games, said that Wei, as an undercover cop, is the most dangerous acting job in the world. If you
Right.
screw up, you're not going to get fired. You're going to get killed.
That's right.
So, he is somebody different when he's with those guys. But what's interesting is he does care about the people who he kind of is betraying in the triad, because he grew up with a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
So, he also had some things happen to him as a kid. Some things happened to his mom and his sister,
That's
and
right.
he blames some people in the triad for these things. So he is acting, but he also has grudges and things against some of these people. So there's some personal motivation there. And when the cops try and pull him back in and say, "Listen, Wei, you've kind of done enough," he says, "No, I'm not done yet. You guys don't get it. There's more to be done." So he's a complex character. He's not just sort of out to clean up the streets or just out for revenge.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Will did a great job with him, and all the actors did a great job. Yeah.
What about on the relationship front with other females in the game? I mean, is Amanda the only person he can date, or are there
No,
there's a couple others I think you mentioned.
Yeah, there's three other dateable girls. Ilyana, Russian hostess.
Okay.
Tiffany, the karaoke hostess who we met.
Okay.
Not Ping, which is kind of you'll find out why her name is not Ping. But she works runs an electronics store.
Okay.
Thank
God.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was like, wait, I was wondering, what not Ping? What do you mean?
Yeah. So she runs an electronics store. So there's all these girls you can date, and they kind of reveal different aspects of Wei's personality. I mean, in one scenario, he finds out one of these girls is actually cheating on him, and he kind of goes a little crazy. So,
Okay.
you find out the way, yeah, I mean, the obsession, I think, that probably makes him a good undercover cop. Probably makes him a bit of a hard guy to get along with if you're a girl.
Yeah. Okay. Where to next?
Let's talk to Johnny here. Where are we headed next? Well, yeah, I think what we might do, Jose, is pause it and go to a mission near the end of the game that people haven't seen before called Civil Discord.
Okay.
That sound all right?
That sounds great.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Let's do it. So just for folks watching at home, these debug options, they're not in your home version, which comes out on Tuesday.
No, they're not.
Yes.
No.
Okay. But you can replay any mission in the game.
You can replay all the missions in the game, which
Yeah.
is something that, if you were like, that mission was awesome, or I don't think I did that well, I want to give that a try again. I didn't get the scores that I wanted from my cop and my triad points. I want to go back and retry that. Yes, you can replay any mission in the game just by heading back to the menu. So Johnny is going to use another debug item here. Just maximum upgrades here. Okay. Johnny, I think there's another one of those lines that you talked about.
That's the dried seahorse
The dried
line she's talking
seahorse
about.
one,
Yeah. Herbal remedies and whatnot. Secrets. I really like the I will say the more I play the game, I'm really enjoying sort of the approach and the way you guys have rendered Hong Kong, and just how authentic in some respects it really feels, from the sound to the visual. Yeah, very nice work on that front.
Thank you very much. It's a really amazing city. It doesn't feel like it feels familiar to Western cities, but it again feels like totally different in a lot of respects. In that you're driving along the street, there's a massive skyscraper, and next to it there's like a 400-year-old temple or something like that.
Right.
That's the size of like a shoebox. Or you're in a night market, and there's like a disassembled cow or something on a rack. And then you go next door and you're in a Louis Vuitton store. It's a real city of contrast, and we tried to get that into the game in terms of how the neighborhoods look, how people dress, the type of music that's listened to, everything from Chinese classical to canto pop to Western music. It's a very interesting place, again, because of that sort of dichotomy in that history.
Yeah, yeah.
I see here Johnny's driving sort of a Datsun-like vehicle, which
Yes.
he kind of was reminiscent of that Bruce Lee jumpsuit that I talked
That's
about
right.
earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the start of Civil Discord, a mission that happens really late in the game. Again, people haven't seen this before. But I won't really give away any of the story here, but let's just say that tensions between all the triads in the city have really escalated and things have boiled over at this point.
Okay.
So it's going to get pretty bloody. So the guy who we just saw getting beaten up there was one of Wei's sort of contacts, a guy who works for Wei at this point in the game, who runs this. Whoa, Johnny's getting worked over by those melee weapons there.
Yeah.
You can see in this fight, which is a particularly difficult fight, because you've got guys with melee weapons, who we talked about before. You've got a lot of brawlers.
Yep.
You've got grapplers. Again, later in the game, so you really need to be strategic about how you go through these fights. It looks like Johnny's probably going to make use of some of these combat props here to thin out the ranks of these guys.
Yeah. They come in very handy in sort of handling the crowd.
They really do, and I
Yeah.
think it comes back to that sort of strategy. If you want to sort of pick your way through the fight and, you know, use your punches and your kicks and your takedowns, that's there for you to do. But you know, you do have to be careful. You see, Johnny has now picked up a melee weapon, kind of use and abuse, so he's taking out these guys with it. He did the rollover there move, which we
Very
saw.
nice. Yeah.
Throwing the
Oh,
weapon.
and the knife.
Yeah,
Wow.
so all these melee weapons and other things in the world, you can actually pick up and throw at enemies. Depending on the enemy's health, that'll just totally take them out.
Okay.
This is, ouch.
Yeah.
Some of
I've heard.
our combat props are pretty brutal.
Yeah.
So anytime an enemy is flashing red there, you see that that's an opportunity to counter that enemy. You also notice that Johnny was quite low on health there, was getting that red ring around the screen, but because he fought well, used weapons, used combat props, he has brought his health back up into a recharging state.
Yes. And that has something to do. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of. So for example, when the screen sort of takes on a yellow kind of tint.
Yeah, that's really the combat meter, or the face combat meter. So as I mentioned, as you kind of fight well or fight stylishly,
okay.
use environmental props, use weapons, you see the triangles representing the triad bars there and the score, what you're being scored on.
Yeah.
And that will actually increase that gold bar there. So as that bar goes up, you'll eventually reach a point where you do get that intimidation effect and the health bonus and the damage bonus.
Yeah.
So, you know, even when your health is low, you can kind of, you know, instead of just being like, well, I guess I'm going to die, I guess I better, you know, run away or something like that, you can actually carefully fight well and stay in the game.
Yeah, and you have a chance to kind of come out of it. Yeah. Okay, so he's almost done. Oh, there's a few more around that corner.
Yeah, so those are some
Really
of
big guy.
that's actually I think Calvin. You're fighting here with Calvin and Conroy. Conroy, the guy who's just drew his thumb across his throat there. That's played by Conroy's played by Robin Shu, who was in Mortal Kombat and is a real-life Hong Kong stuntman. One of the original Hong Kong stunt crew from back in the 70s. Amazing.
Okay.
Not yet.
So you can see Wei's pretty worked over there.
And I'm sorry, for Robin Shu, that's the game or the movie?
He was in the movie, the Mortal Kombat
Thank
movie.
you. That's what I thought.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
It took me a minute. I was like, wait, I know which one. I can't remember right now.
Yeah, you know, Robin has made you know, a feature film about Hong Kong stuntmen. He was great to work with, and you know, honored to work with guys like him and even guys like Conan Lee, who's like an old school 70s Hollywood, Hong Kong action star.
Yeah, yeah. So we're skipping.
We're just skipping a
for
couple
these,
of
good.
cutscenes there.
Spoiler-free.
Spoiler-free, heading into sort of a street gunfight here, sort of Heat-inspired. You can see they're actually attacking Wei's interests, kind of all around Hong Kong at this point, kind of going after he and his gang. You can see what Johnny's doing here is he's vaulting over the hoods of these cars, and even the tops of some of these lower cars.
Yeah.
Going into slow-mo and our sort of bullet time effect. And if you're really a good shot, you manage to take guys out in bullet time. The bullet time extends.
Yeah.
So you can, if you're playing the game really, really well and carefully, you can run through entire floors of buildings in bullet time, which is pretty sweet. Johnny's gonna be careful here. Some of these vehicles are getting pretty close to exploding.
Yep.
So you're just gonna have to he's gonna have to kind of find another weapon here. Now
he took out a lot of them though.
he did. It's pretty sweet actually. So
there we go. Here's some guns.
We treated weapons like power-ups, or guns like power-ups, as well as some of our melee weapons. So, just like a Hong Kong action film star, they kind of use it, they run out of ammo, they throw it away, they pick up something else. That's exactly how we wanted it to be. And each weapon, feels substantially different. Johnny's got a pretty big assault rifle right now, which is a great weapon. But my favorite weapon in this area is actually the assault shotgun, the automatic shotgun. So we'll see if Johnny can get one of those. Those are pretty awesome. So he's actually, there you go. There's the combat shotgun.
Oh yeah, that's quick.
That thing is just...
nice work on taking out the driver the second they got there.
Yeah.
The entity known as Johnny Smiles.
A little tip for people, if you're in one of these sort of street shootouts, and there's several of them in the game, as these reinforcements are arriving, and you'll actually hear it called out by your compatriots saying, hey, there's somebody coming from the left, or whatever, if you shoot the tires of that incoming vehicle on the way in, it will totally flip through the scene and explode sort of overhead. It's a pretty sweet moment. So rather than waiting till the guys actually get out of the car, you can take them out on the way in.
It's interesting. I'm trying to remember exactly. I know during one of the chase scenes I played, that was one of the best ways to take out the other cars. Shoot them in the tire, they kind of explode into a fireball flame.
Exactly.
But, at first, I mean, was that planned as well when you were not in a car, or did that just sort of like happen by accident one day? And
it sort of happened by accident, and then I was like, you know what? I'm tired of the reinforcements coming in and totally working me over. I'm gonna, use the techniques that I learned in sort of the rail shooters.
No, and just another, like, I guess, sort of cool anecdote about how, like, sometimes, some things that make it into a game, the way they make it in aren't always planned. I mean, for example, it was planned that when you're in cars, that was going to be something to always go to, but then when you're out of a car, it's like, oh, yeah, I can do that too.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it comes through, and it's actually pretty helpful. Oh, man, that shotgun.
That is something else. That's a great gun. So you can see just the amount of carnage and chaos that's happening here, sort of up close and personal. So, unlike a lot of FPSs where, you're kind of, enemies are really quite small, we wanted it to have that really kind of up close and personal action movie feel. With kind of guys very close to you, things exploding all around you. But, like some FPSs, we're about to sort of enter a piece here. It's sort of an homage to some of our favorite things. We're going to give you a grenade launcher up on top of this balcony here.
Okay. I take it those are not very easy to get.
They're not very easy to get. You get them at a few points in the game, and they're a lot of fun. They're really, really cool because you come close to hitting a vehicle, that vehicle explodes as well. Do have to watch your ammo here, just because it's not entirely unlimited. So the objective here, you can see the bar on the right-hand side of the screen. You're trying to keep your allies alive as these waves of enemies come in from this rival gang.
And they're on the left along with the meter.
That's right. The enemies are on the right coming in, and they're going to arrive by vehicle shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've really tried to bring in elements from different titles as well. We talked about rail shooters, and this is sort of a shooting gallery scenario. We just really wanted to it's a long game, it's a big game, there's lots of content, and we wanted people to have a chance to kind of experience a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So I know there are cop missions as well, if I could just go off on a little tangent. I was very surprised by one of the missions. Oh, wow, nice shot. Oh, man, I got it.
I think you had it done there.
So close, yeah, there it is.
Very nice,
Very nice shot. I was surprised by one of the cop missions where I mean, we obviously won't go into too much spoiler territory with it, but that gang members had started going missing, and they were being found with incisions.
That's right.
And that was a very interesting
Yeah.
nod to sort of organ trafficking and whatnot. I mean,
Yeah.
not to go too deep, obviously.
No, not at all. So the cop missions you see way here now. Speaking of cops, is they're trying to get away from the cops after causing that carnage on the street. So there are 4 major cases in the game. Each case has 4 leads that you have to close the case.
Yeah.
And those are more investigative. You mentioned one of those, which is it seems like at first it might be a serial killer. You're not quite sure what's happening.
Yeah.
It turns out it's an organ harvesting ring,
Wow.
and they're actually harvesting organs from triads because nobody's really going to miss them.
Look at that. I just found it interesting because that's a very global sort of issue that just a lot of people. I mean, I feel a lot of folks kind of pass over. Or
Yeah.
don't really talk about or think about. So I was impressed to find that.
Well, we try to hit a couple of different storylines with our cases. There's a kidnapping, a human trafficking one. There's the organ transplant one. There's one that's based around getting a major drug dealer off the streets.
Yeah.
This is all stuff that Wei does to kind of help clean up his conscience a little bit. He has a special relationship with the inspector who actually is helping him with these cases. She's the only other person besides his handler and the chief inspector who knows he's actually an undercover cop.
Yeah. And she learns early on. We're talking about the inspector.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
It actually turns out to be sort of a bad choice on the part of Superintendent Pendrew to tell Tang that Wei is actually an undercover cop. So yeah, we just finished up with, or almost finished up there with Civil Discord, which is a mission again people haven't seen before.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
That was our pleasure. Thank you, Jose.
Yeah. All right. So for Jeff, for Johnny, and for OneUp.com, thanks for watching, and check out our review, which goes up next week when the game goes on sale on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, the
Yes.
14th.
All right, great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jose.